Welcome to an introduction to the new RDQ workflow and form. What I want to do is just talk briefly in this first video about the comparing and contrasting the RFD and the RDQ. As you should know, to get to the current workflow, you can do that through our homepage by clicking on the Workflow Access button under the Web Tools section on our homepage. That takes you to this screen after you log in. This should all be pretty familiar to you guys. This is the current RFD workflow screen. You'll notice that the RFD is right now only for request for design, and although we use it for quote request, it is intended only for design request. If we were to click on the new RFD, you would see a form that looked like this. This is the current form. You'll notice that it's designed primarily for corrugated, and as we click on things, design, sample, parts of the form expand so that we can put our information in. You'll notice that this form has changed tremendously in the new process. But I wanted you guys to be familiar with the old form, just so you could kind of look and see the differences right now. One of the things that we've heard is that with the current RFD, every time that we want to put in multiple projects for a customer, we have to keep hitting the new RFD button. Hopefully with the RDQ process, we've taken care of that problem. So let's look at the new RDQ process. RDQ now stands for request for design and quote. So instead of just doing a request for design, we can do a request for design and quote. The dashboard or the home screen looks tremendously like the one that we just looked at. And you'll notice here we can click and see on the dashboard only designs only, quotes only, or design and quote requests both. Design and quote mean that you wanted something designed or a request was put in for it to be designed, and then after it was designed, it was quoted, it was requested to be quoted. These are just design requests, and these are just quote requests. If we click on new request, we'll start to see a change to things here. So what we've done is we've put a header record in, so you don't have to fill this information out multiple times. If we put in a customer name and then fill out the region that we're a part of, pick a salesperson so that you know who the salesperson is. If you're the salesperson, it should automatically fill that out. Milagro, if you want it to be quoted under Milagro. These are the only fields, this one and these two here, are the only required fields at this point. If you know a contact name, you might put test, or the contact name and the phone number that you'd like there. So once you're done with that, we can save. That header information is pretty simple, not a whole lot to it. And then we actually get to the request entry part. What we'll notice here is that we have some new options to us. So what we're going to start to do is we're going to start to build the body of the request, and we can put as many requests in, and these will be treated as individual requests, and we can put as many of these in as we want to. We're going to talk about adding a request in the next video. What I wanted to do in this video is just talk about the differences between the RFD and the RDQ. Adding a new request means that you will add a brand new request. The classification, we now have 10 types of product class. So we're trying to gain more information about the product. Corrugated foam, goods purchased for resale, honeycomb, labels, packs, plastic, racks, service items, which would be like contract packaging, or wood. You want it design only, a quote only, or design and quote, meaning that after design gets done with it, it goes to quoting. Once you pick those two categories, then we can start to add the request details. The request details will now look a lot different than the current form. What we're going to ask for now on the new RDQ is 3 pieces of information depending on what you're looking for. So we'll first want to grab information on the product, then information about the design, and then information about the quote process. We'll look at this a little bit later, but I just wanted to get you guys familiar with the the new form as opposed to the old one. If we go back, we'll see that we have, if we didn't want to add a new request, we could revise existing request or quote existing request. What this is if you have a current or something that's been completed, a request that's been completed, you could bring it back up, ask for a revision, and it would basically copy all of the information from your old request. So if you said that and then you knew a request that you wanted to bring up, you have to remember this number. If you know that, it'll bring it back up. Now, quote existing request is a lot like that. What it is intended for is if you've asked for a design to be done, but did not ask for a quote to be done, and so the design is completed, and now you'd like to have it quoted, you can quote that existing request as long as you know the request number. You put the request number in, and it'll bring it up, and it'll have all the information, and it'll know the spec from design, and it'll pass it on to the quoting people. Remember that the search screens at the very beginning of your dashboard will allow you to look at requests by customer, or by salesperson, or what have you. So if you don't know the request or you can't quite remember it, as long as you know the customer or the project name, you can search for it using these things here. And then just be sure that you say you active or closed or what have you. So if you're searching now, you're only going to be searching for active things. You want to search for anything, be sure to click the all button, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of data. So if you're looking for a certain customer or a certain project name, then that would be the time to put that in. That concludes our video for today. For now, we're going to talk about entering a request in our next video and how it flows through the system, but this is just an introduction to the RDQ differences from the RFD. Thank you.